Welcome back. Today we'll look at two strong stories in Nigeria. First, Wike gave a big blow to Amaechi. He said Amaechi's hope to be president is already dead before it arrived. Now we are going to listen to what Rufai and also Ayomide said about Wike. The second story is very sad in Anambra. Vigilantes were seen beating NYSC members. Many Nigerians are angry and they are speaking loud in the comments. We will watch the full clip and I will share my thoughts along the way.
Of the president, so he knows how to defeat him, but he also knew the weaknesses of the president in 2022 when the president defeated him mercilessly in the primary. And, I know this was briefly discussed earlier, but Rufai, I'll start with you. Just your reaction to these comments and, that intense quote, dead on arrival. I mean, is that true?
Coming from a man that his own presidential ambition was dead during the party primaries, and like Dino Melaye said, he tried so hard, he begged him. In fact, one paper quoted 19 times, but I didn't see the full letter, so I can't quote that. But he said Dino Melaye claimed that he begged him to be Atiku's running mates. That wasn't possible. Then what afterwards, we started hearing fights between him and Atiku. So, Mr. Wike is like God, sent Wike. He knows everything. He knows whose presidential ambition is dead on arrival. He knows who they beat mercilessly, but Atiku Abubakar did not beat him mercilessly during the primary. No, they didn't even beat him. I think he won the primaries. He won the PDP primary. He was pretty big candidate in the last election now. You see, our politicians forget that life is transient, and power, most importantly, is transient. It's but a fleeting time in life. For all of us in life, we are up here today, we are nowhere tomorrow. Today, there was a man that once said, PDP will rule for the next 60 years. The question is, where is Vincent Ogbula for today? I think politicians should focus on the lives of the people rather than the political grandstanding and calling the other person black when it doesn't suit them. At the same point, this was the same Mr. Wike that served under Amaechi's administration. We forget that in a hurry. So when you were serving him then, he was not weak, he was not terrible. But now you feel you're a master of your own, you shoot him down. It speaks volumes in life. So, as far as I'm concerned, him and Amaechi are both on the same bed. They both lost in presidential primaries. So what's the point? He also had a jab at Babacha Lawa that the reason why Babacha Lawa is fighting Tinubu is because they didn't make him VP. He too, we can say for him, like Dino Melaye said, that he begged him to help him talk to Atiku to be VP. Because, let's switch roles. If Wike had been VP candidate to Atiku Abubakar, do you think he'll be fighting Atiku Abubakar today? Anyway, I can say that argument is not empirical because Atiku Abubakar's even VP running mates has left the fold of the political party today. So, so you can see politics in this country is a funny proposition.
Look at how Wike talk about Amaechi. Someone online even joked, Wike always changes voice and clear his throat anytime he hears Amaechi's name. Another comment was sharp because he said both Wike and Amaechi are guilty because they once backed APC and helped to break our democracy. So people feel this is not about the people, but about their own fight.
Let me just emphasize, Mr. Wike is just one person, he has just one vote. If Mr. Rotimi Amaechi is able to secure the ticket of his political party, it will be down to Nigerians to determine whether or not he has a fighting chance to be president. This is political speak. I mean, it's not. We've seen things like this. So it's dead on arrival. You not make any headway. But I think it's important to also remind ourselves that we've had surprise candidates emerge as winners. So it's too early to call it. Let me put it that way. The first elected democratic president in this democratic dispensation had just newly minted come out of prison under the military rule, and he emerged as president. We've also had very almost rare in Nigeria where you beat the incumbent. In the case of former President Muhammadu Buhari, and Goodluck Jonathan. So it's not uhuru to say that, oh, you have no fighting chance. Every Nigerian, as long as you're able to meet the criteria as constitutionally provided, has a chance to run for election. So this is just political speak, but I think it's also important to see how political friends and friendships can go awry, as with what's happened with Wike and Amaechi. Amaechi and Wike were once bosom, and at some point they spoke from the same side of the mouth. But now that things have gone out of the way, he now wakes up to realize that he would not do very well politically. But let's see, 2027 is going to be interesting. But what is most important is for the Nigerian people to vote wisely and to vote the best candidates who are shown working and you believe can lead Nigeria in the best way forward.
This is hard to see. This COP member came to serve Nigeria, yet they were beaten by men who should protect them. One viewer said, these vigilantes are not human. They act like animals. Another said, this is like attempted murder. Some also asked why Governor Soludo is not being blamed for the bad action of this vigilante. So the anger is not only for the men beaten, but also for leaders who fail to control them. This shows deep pain. You should not serve the nation with fear for their lives.
So let's now go to Anambra State, where we're hearing from the lawyer for the NYSC members who were seen violently attacked by a vigilante group in a video that's now gone viral. So the video shows the moment a group of men attack a female corps member and her colleagues. And now the lawyer, Barrister Cyrus Onu, says the men in this video accuse the corps members of being Yahoo people or internet fraudsters, despite the corps members' production of their NYSC ID cards and uniforms, adding that they instead opted to brutalize and dehumanize his clients if they would not settle them. So let's take a look at that video now. So the Anambra State government says they have identified, arrested, and detained the members of the vigilante group, but the state government's account of these events was slightly different. Instead, they said that this vigilante group barged into this compound thinking they were pursuing criminals. So the Haven Foundation, which is a nonprofit, says they're working with the victims to make sure this incident does not get swept under the rug. But by all accounts, this is a very difficult and traumatic video to watch. So Vimbai, I'll start with you. How are you reacting to this, especially just in terms of how graphic that video is? How are you seeing everything that's going on in Anambra State?
Annie, this is so inhumane, and I think the most painful part of it is that it's not peculiar to Anambra State. We remember just a few months ago, we were dealing with the issue of the vigilantes who had killed a number of travelers who were, reported to be hunters or so forth in Edo State. The occurrences of vigilantes using excessive force continue to happen in spats around the country. It takes us back to several issues. Number one, earlier when we discussed what happened in Katsina, we spoke about self-help. Now, when communities resort to self-help, yes, in many instances, these vigilantes are created. However, vigilantes are supposed to be trained. They're supposed to be regulated to an extent by the state. These individuals, they're not wearing uniforms, they're not, so we can't have a nation where you and I can just call our friends and decide that actually we're vigilantes. It doesn't work that way. So there's a real challenge there with regards to addressing our security apparatus, and because these vigilantes have sprung up all over the country because our policing force is unable to deal with all of the pressures of insecurity all around the nation. So we need deeper regulation, we need training for these vigilantes, and we need to be able to keep tabs on who is who. Vigilante is not a police. You cannot beat anybody. You can't even arrest anybody. At best, what you can do is you can call the police's attention to the issue at hand. But again, again, this is what happens when there's institutional failure, is that you see self-help, which is very unfortunate. Now, very quickly, I just want to make quick comments on the Wike story that you just took while I'm here, which is that for me personally, as much as Nyesom Wike can be brash in his communication, I actually agree with him. Because first you look at the ADC and you look at the front runners for the presidential ticket in the ADC at the moment. You have your Atiku, you have Peter Obi. Some people are even saying that it's possible that Goodluck Jonathan might run under the umbrella of the ADC. That's a very tough group of people to contend with at the primary level. Now, let's say he clinches that primary ticket and he's able to go for actual election. On an election stage, the by-elections, in many instances to people, were a litmus test of what we're going to expect in 2027, and ADC barely scratched the surface in any constituency. We thought that by now, with all of the bravado we're seeing, that ADC would have seen just at least a small indicator that there's grassroots support. But it showed us that on the grassroots, there's not much happening. It seems more of an organization of elites, posturing themselves for power. So based off of the current situation, I know in politics, 24 hours is more than enough. Anything can change. But the way I see it at the moment, for a Rotimi Amaechi, maybe in future, but with what's on the ground at the moment, I don't think 2027 has much to offer him.
Today we saw strong words against Amaechi, and we also saw the sad beating of NYSC member in Anambra. The comments from people are clear. Some laughed at Wike, saying he always changed his voice when Amaechi's name is called. Others say both meant both of the problems, but for the vigilante case, everyone is angry and wants justice. This shows that Nigerians are watching and Nigerians are not happy. Thank you for watching. Please share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for more updates. Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged. I will see you in the next video.